listen to you, and it was a very inspiring speech. I will surely ask Dr. Kant to give me a book so I could introduce it to my university in Pakistan also. My question to you would be that you talked about different traits of a leader. As Dale Carnegie also said, if you want to collect honey, don't kick over the beehive. So do you believe in forgiveness also? How much a leader should be forgiving the people who he's involved with? I will not say the subordinates, the colleagues, the team that he has. How much forgiveness is important?
I think if you are carrying a grudge, you are harming yourself far more. So please be very selfish. Please have mercy on your own self and forgive. You carry a grudge, you are harming yourself far more. So in my career so far of 24 years, there have been a few people I've had to actually remove from the organization. But the sum total of such people would be less than maybe 4 or 5 such people over thousands of people that we have employed. So it's a very rare kind of a thing. And because in a commercial organization you have paucity of time, so sometimes you take an action. But more so when there is a moral turpitude, or when somebody has misbehaved with a woman. Something like that, in our organization, there is zero tolerance. It can go to the other extent. Sometimes a woman can take advantage also. But to that. But that's the kind of culture our chairman also put out there, and I believe very strongly in that. But apart from those very few such cases, forgiveness, I think you are doing yourself a favor by forgiving. Look at India and Pakistan. We are both harming ourselves by not forgetting the past. Let's forget and move ahead. Both of us. I'm not saying you. I'm saying both of us need to do that.
Sir, you are a capitalist by profession, but after listening to all this, socialist by heart. What is your take on that?
A pure capitalist is totally socialist at heart. Now, let me, and I'm not talking about pure capitalists. Most capitalists that we come across are not pure capitalists. They are, because what is a pure capitalist? He is looking for his benefit. But sustainably long term, that benefit accrues to him for over a long term. And for that benefit to occur continuously, unless he develops his team, unless he looks after his people, unless he looks after his customers, unless he looks after his bankers, unless he looks after his shareholders, so he has to do all those things, eventually the benefit, he will be laughing his way to the bank, but over a sustainably long period. Because if your people are happy, they will deliver far better results. So overall, if you see, Vardhaman is a company in textile as well as steel. Both the industries we are in, compared to our competitors over a much longer term, we have done much better. So a pure capitalist is a true socialist at heart. Do I have more time for questions? Because Kamal is looking at me. Yes.
My name is Faisal Khan and I'm from Pakistan. Just as our professor stated, I have 3 questions for you, and I wish you comment on them. So starting. So we see a lot of people singled out leading the masses. How would you justify personal reflection over simple designation provided and led by fear and pressure? Secondly, how does one confirm his skills as a leader? And finally, do you see leadership as a recognized process? And I have trouble processing how a person unique and different as adorable and is adored by people, just the way our leaders, our previous leaders, are stars like Gandhi and Jinnah were. Thank you.
All right. How do I tackle this? Okay. Let me try. So, first question was about leaders and having large following behind them, right?
Leaders having large following behind them, but in certain processes like political processes, I mean, people call them leaders and people follow them, but they're often descendants to the leaders and still get followed. I mean,
See, again, my take on leadership is very different from the normal understanding of leadership. My leadership is more about you yourself. And if you are, because these descendants are just believing that it is their right, because their father was a leader and therefore it is their right, yeah, this is the way, this is my profession. They are not leaders. Look at Mr. Rahul Gandhi. You get inspired by him? Just because his grandfather was the Prime Minister of the country, his father was the Prime Minister of the country, so you are automatically the Vice President of the party and next President of the party. So, the point is, leadership is about you yourself. And this happens in business families also. In a business company, because just I'm the chairman's son, or in my case, I'm a son-in-law, just because you are there to reach that position, I don't think it's right. You have to be able to earn that position. And therefore, that earning that position has to happen by personal conduct. So you could be in a leadership position, like me. I was managing training Hindustan Lever and suddenly I became executive of Vardhman Group at the age of ripe old age of 24 and a half. But after that, that position was given to me. That didn't make me a leader. It put me in a leadership position. Ultimately, it is about me as an individual. Am I living up to that position or not? And I believe leadership is a trait that can be learned. Right. And the other one? See, I'm not too much of a definition, so that's why when you get long words and all, I get lost somewhere. Yeah?
I mean, I had to go long because I was thinking about these things. So finally, I think all of my questions are answered.
Okay, thank you. Kamal, you are the timekeeper, so you tell me, because I don't want the judges to say, deduct negative marks from you. Huh? Last question.
So I'm really sorry, but I need to ask this regarding your take on all true capitalists are socialists at heart. So I'm going to take the case of Lockheed Martin, one of the most professionally sound and capitalist companies.
See, one thing, I don't know about other companies enough to be able to comment on the policies of any other company. I know about my company, I know about what I am doing.
Okay, sir, conceded, sir, conceded. Regarding my second question, sir, so I really, truly want to believe your school of thought regarding leadership. That is where love matters. But kindly extrapolate on the leadership style of Jean-Armand Richelieu and the first Duke of Wellington.
I don't know any of these people enough to comment on somebody else, please.
Okay.
I talk of myself, my experience, and my belief.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my apologies. So I'll take one more question. We'll take one more question, the last question.
So, it was a very nice session actually, and I just have one question as the political scenario came in when you took examples of Rahul Gandhi. Sir, my question is as simple as this. Don't you think leadership is based on a perspective which each individual has? Because one person might consider a person to be a leader when he mingles with the crowd and leads the crowd being a part of it. The other might consider a person a leader who leads from the front. We have two contrasting examples in Indian politics. As politics came to the fore, I'm just taking that. One is Rahul Gandhi, who tries to mingle with the mass in an attempt to be a leader, and the other, Narendra Modi, who leads by an example. It is known that capitalists, industrialists favor Narendra Modi because he actually exemplifies more of their beliefs. But on the contrary, is it right for us to judge people as leaders just on the basis of what we believe? Because each individual has a different perception of leadership, which I guess must be respected at a given point.
Okay. Absolutely right. Let me put it this way. Styles could be totally different. So I am not a propagand of this is only one style of leadership. There are several other styles of leadership. There could be people who are a very different kind of leaders and yet very successful. So, style is one part. But a common part of leadership is you have to have a vision. Vision for whatever responsibility you have and vision for a bigger responsibility, next responsibility you are aspiring for. So today, for example, if you compare these two gentlemen, what is their vision for the country? So vision is important. Then, are you communicating that vision? For example, when the rape case happened, where was Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Supposedly mass leader, young youths, etc. Where was he? Do we know what does he stand for in anything? So anyway, I think this is a debate which will can continue, but the main point is, I need, as an individual, I have a right to see who I would want to lead my country. I want somebody who has a clear articulation of where he wants to see the country going and how he wants to see us reach there. So, where, then the plan, and he gathers people around him, he participates in the parliament, he gets people to follow what he's saying, not just because of his surname, because of his own capability. Right? Thank you everybody. Thank you for being a very patient audience.
This was fantastic, Sachit ji. So encouraging, so inspiring, full of optimism throughout. You know, when you were speaking, something was coming in my mind. You are actually in a very unique position, really gifted, and you admitted, I think, 3 or 4 times how lucky you have been. I think you are actually, one of those rare lucky ones whose wives would listen to the lecture. For 45 minutes, and I think as frequent as 2 times in the last 2 years, and that's what I know of. Or there's a deal, Suchita, I don't know. The rest 364 days you would listen and 365th is, his. So it was fantastic. Now I would invite Mrs. Harpreet for results.
May we invite the teams over to the front? Do we also have Jamia Millia Islamia here for the adjudication?